Let's talk some action figures, everyone. Hey, it's Bobo here. Today, I'm finally breaking down the Superman and Alien 2-pack from San Diego Comic-Con. I do have a good reason for this because now I have the rest of the set from New York Comic-Con, so stay tuned for that because I have a very fun announcement in the future when those videos drop. Anyways, let's talk about these guys, and let's start with the Man of Steel. What an amazing figure. Now, it's still built upon that same body we saw with the Batman Predator 2-pack, but I think Superman looks really good here. Everything came out really good in the head sculpt. Very comic book-like styling, if you will, with that NECA touch to it, but I enjoy it. I know some people have complained about this head sculpt, but I think it looks really good. I love the exaggerated look, but it's still kind of a classic look. So it definitely has that going on with it. I really have no issues to speak of in terms of the head. Moving on from there, we got that beautiful S logo. I have no issues with my S logo. That's always a plus when dealing with Superman figures. The suit looks very good. It's just molded in the blue with his muscles like almost ready to rip apart. And of course, we got the floating crotch piece with the underwear and the belt, and all that came out really good too. Really no complaints on that. Going down through the legs, we get down to the boots. You got some sculpting there on the top to break apart that red a little bit. And then of course we got the bottom of his feet. Now I do have a paint chip right there. I don't know how that happened, but it is unfortunate. So I'm probably going to have to find a way to touch that up, which is kind of scary because I'm not really much of a painter. But overall, very cool design. And moving on from there, let's go ahead and talk about the cape piece real quick. As you can see, it's almost like a hook system where that fabric cape is located at. It's hidden pretty well. I mean, you really don't notice it, so I'm fine with that. Now, as far as the cape goes, very nice fabric material. A Superman S looks very nice. It's nice when companies pay attention to that detail and add that S on the back. When you're dealing with classic Superman, the cape goes down pretty far. Now, there's no wire or anything in it, and I don't know how feasible it would be to do wire on something like this. I'm not saying it's not possible, but I don't know how it would go. But I do like the way the cape hangs from the back, and it does have a nice span to it. The fabric's somewhat stretchy, not super stretchy, but as you can see, you can bring it out quite a bit, which is nice with Superman. I think Superman should always have a long cape, or a big cape, if you will. Now, in terms of Superman's articulation, let's go ahead and break that down. In the head, he can look down about that much. He does look up, which is nice. I wish he would look up more. You do get side to side and rotation. Like I said, I do wish the head would go up just a wee bit more. The ab crunch goes back somewhat. That's also a bit of a disappointment, but it does go down quite a bit, so that's cool. And these are all minor nitpicks. Like, I'm not dissatisfied with the figure or anything of that nature. You are able bring it side to side. The arms do go up that much. They go down and they spin all the way around. We have our bicep cup, which works pretty well. And then we have a double bend at the elbow with those big, beefy arms. And then we have a swivel and hinge at the hand. And then for the lower body, we have a thigh cut right there. This Superman almost has that DC and the Masters of the Universe style articulation to it. A leg does go forward and back and kicks up pretty well. Double bend at the knee. Boot cut for those who enjoy that. And then the foot hinges down that far, which is nice. And hinges up a good amount, which is also good. And then rotates side to side and rocks like so. And then it also has a hinge there at the top of the boot, which actually works well. I complimented that with the Batman figure too. And moving on from there, let's go ahead and talk about the other star of this series. We have the Alien. This is an alien we've seen before. You'll see that more in the size comparison, or roundup, if you will. A lot of nice detail. Articulation overall works very good. The paint choice here with the purple and the blackish blue does work really well. It's got a nice shiny head dome there. Can't deny that. As you can see, the lights reflecting off of it work pretty well. And, you know, overall, like I said, the aesthetic of that really complements the rest of the body right there. And then just to see the front of the head with the mouthpiece out. Mouthpiece is a little tricky to get out, but you can get it done, which, you know, with a little patience and TLC isn't a bad thing. And then a side view of that head one more time, just so you can see that a bit more. Definitely loved the presentation of that. NECA did a fantastic job. As for the rest of the body, lots of nice detail, lots of washes and dry brushes and things of that nature. And sculpting all work really well. NECA always, it seems, does a phenomenal job with its alien figures, and the same goes for its predator figures too. So I really got no complaints about that either. Now the tail also looks really good. Very long tail. I mean, like really long. Stretches out here, as you can see. It does have bendy wire in it, and I'll show that a little bit more once we break down the articulation. But I just wanted to show you the length of this tail. It is massively long. And in terms of articulation, the head is on a hinge ball peg, so you can bring it down quite a bit. You can bring it back up a lot. You can have it go side to side, and you can rotate it like so. Hinge at the mouth, and then of course we have the pull part piece. Like I said, it's a little stuck, and I feel like I'm breaking right here, but I'm not. I was able to slide it in and close that mouth, which is always good. The arms do go out that far. You can bring them back in, rotate around, double bend at the elbow and swivel. So that's cool. And then we got a hinge and swivel at the claws right there, and at the fingers too, which works out quite good. And then for the upper body, we have a beautiful diaphragm joint that allows for a lot of good range of movement, both forwards and side to side and things like that. The legs on mine are kind of stiff, so just be careful with that. You can bring it out, and it does have that thigh cut right there. Double bend at the knee with the swivel action there, like you've seen. Another bend at the lower ankle-ish calf area. Rotation at the foot, and then he does have a hinge at the front toes there that I didn't show. And then, of course, the bendy wire there in the tail. It's stiff. It's hard to move, but you can get it to work. So no complaints with that either. As far as accessories, the alien doesn't have any, but this alien does. He has the smaller I-beam piece. I like it. I wish the eye effect would have went out instead of forward. And as you can see with the alternate head here, there's a big gap, so you can plug that into it. And then you could take the longer laser portion here, which is done fantastic. No complaints about this whatsoever. A cool effect, one that you don't see very often with Superman figures, so digging that. It's got alternate hands for flying, which was a nice touch to include. And that pretty much wraps up accessories. Now, I brought out a couple Superman figures that I've had, one from Mezco and the Earth 2 Crime Syndicate Ultraman, and then the NECA Superman here. Obviously, he's the biggest one, but the Ultraman actually fits in pretty nicely, so there is that. In terms of aliens, I got the exploding, like, shots fired at alien, and then I have the sewer TMNT style alien, which shares many of the same features in terms of tail and body for the most part as this 2-pack alien. So overall, do I recommend it? Absolutely. I mean, how cool is it that we got a Superman figure from NECA? That doesn't happen every day. Now, the only way to pick this up now is through the secondary market if you missed the pre-orders and such. But I do hope you pick it up if you want it, because it's definitely very cool. It's a nice addition to that 90s, early 2000 callback between Dark Horse and DC. So kudos for NECA for finally getting this out. With that being said, I think that's going to do it for me. As always, thank you guys for stopping by. Stay tuned for later on in the week, as I'll be covering the other 2 sets we have here. If you get some free time, check out some of the people who make the show possible. Of course, I will have a slideshow at the end. Hope everyone's doing well. And until next time, everyone, great googly moogly.